Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in to our third webinar of the Civics Outreach Remote Work Series. We're going to give everybody a few minutes just to hop on. So in the meantime, we're going to listen to some cool beats and tune back in a couple minutes. All right, everyone, thanks so much for tuning in to our third webinar of the Civics Outreach series. Today, our topic is ways Google can help you pivot to virtual. I'm so excited to be joined here by my colleagues, Erica, Andrea, John, and Javier. We're going to teach you all the ways that you can pivot to virtual during this time, broadcasting live from our homes. So, of course, we want to hear what you have to say and make sure that we get all of your questions answered. So make sure you ask them right down below. We are going to do a Q&A section at the end. So make sure you submit your questions throughout the webinar here, and we'll be sure to get those answered. So first, let's kick it off with a little bit about how we're helping via coronavirus as Google as a whole. All right. Okay. So let's just start off with a quick agenda here. We are going to go over how we're really helping people find useful information, protecting people from mis and disinformation, of course, enabling productivity for remote workers and students just like you, supporting relief efforts and government organizations, and then also advancing health research and science during this time. So all of these ways that Google is helping during this time. So first, helping people find useful information and protecting them from misinformation, something that's very important. So in times of crisis, we know that providing users with timely, actionable information is absolutely crucial. So in search, we always want to give users relevant and reliable information from very high quality sources. So for queries that pertain to topics like health information, such as the coronavirus, that are particularly sensitive or may be susceptible to low quality information, we have systems in place that give more weight to our ranking systems in factors like the understanding of the authoritativeness, the expertise of that source, or the trustworthiness of pages that we present in response. So for instance, you see right here on your screen, different links to the World Health Organization and the CDC, really making sure that we're providing those authoritative links and feedback when you get your Google search results. Additionally, we're really making sure that we're expanding our search experience. So when COVID-19 was declared a public health emergency by the World Health Organization in late January, we actually launched an SOS alert with resources and safety information from the WHO, along with the latest news. So this alert has launched in 25 languages across dozens of countries, and people in more than 50 countries can access localized public health guidance from their health authorities. So in all 50 states, things like that. So as we continue to see more and more people seeking information, we're merging our existing SOS alert with a knowledge panel that actually contains authoritative information on COVID-19 symptoms, prevention, statistics around the globe. You can see in the GIF there the map of all the different cases. And you can also toggle between each section. So you can see up on top in the red, the different pieces of information that you can learn more about as you toggle through. So of course, as you may have seen on Google's homepage, we've been promoting the Do the 5 campaign to raise awareness of simple measures that people can take to stop the spread of disease, according to the WHO. So of course, make sure to do the 5, wash your hands often, maybe sing a happy birthday song, the chorus to your favorite lyrics. Make sure you cough into your elbow, super important. Don't touch your face. It seems like the only thing that I figured out during work from home is how much I really like to touch my face. So I'm trying to stay away from doing that. Of course, make sure you're staying socially distant from others. It's kind of sad here in DC. The cherry blossoms aren't in the cards for me, but it's really important to keep that 6 feet of distance away from others, a safe social distancing, and then also just staying home. Of course, you notice that we're broadcasting live from our homes today. And I hope that you're tuning in from there as well. It's so important to stay home and do the 5 as we go through this all together. We're all in this together. So in addition to launching new features on Google Search, we've worked with relevant agencies and authorities to roll out a website. google.com/COVID19. You can find resources and dedicated help to all things about COVID-19. So it's really focused on education, prevention, and local resources. You can find state-based information, safety and prevention tips, along with the search trends related to COVID-19. At google.com/COVID19, you'll also find more resources that you can share with your audiences, resources that can help your communities, and ways you can support local relief efforts, which we know are super important right now. Now we're shifting to finding useful information on YouTube. Of course, you can find all the useful information that you need on our COVID website and in Google search itself. But of course, there are a plethora of videos and information on YouTube as well. So here you see both the mobile and desktop versions of our homepage, and we're surfacing authoritative videos from the CDC about COVID-19. You'll also see our news shelf that prominently displays videos from authoritative news sources, ensuring that you have the most up-to-date, relevant, authoritative content on your YouTube homepage. We're also helping people find useful information with info cards. So these information panels are really showcasing what people are searching for videos about coronavirus. So we're surfacing information to point to authoritative sources, just like the WHO, which you see here. We're providing that content in many different languages across 100 different countries. So really, we're providing this authoritative link right here. And also, we're rolling out much more as we continue to learn more information. So as we do this, we want to make sure that we're protecting people from mis and disinformation. And I'll start with the YouTube side of things. So we want to make sure that we incorporate human and machine review of search and YouTube results. So we combine this with community flagging programs to apply our robust policies around harmful and abusive content. And we want to make sure that we're stopping it early. So we aim to really surface the videos from experts, media outlets, just like public health institutions, news organizations in search and on YouTube. So millions of queries are getting this treatment today, including coronavirus-related queries. In addition, we really aim to prominently surface those authoritative sources via product features, including that news shelf that I was talking about, and really highlight those videos in our search results so that you're really getting the most relevant and authoritative sources on your newsfeed. On YouTube, we're also working to quickly remove any content that claims to prevent the coronavirus in place of seeking medical treatment. On YouTube, things that claim harmful substances or treatments that can help health benefits. Our policy relating to coronavirus content also prohibits recommending treatments in place of seeking medical treatment, such as visiting the doctor or the hospital. It's really important that if you do see these symptoms, that you do seek treatment and you do follow the guidelines given out by the WHO and the CDC. And we, of course, work to ensure that we have our information panels, as you see under videos as well. So the one right under here, coronavirus disease, COVID-19, get the latest information from the CDC. So we want to make sure that we're surfacing those info cards right underneath the videos as well. As far as some other channels that we're working on, I want to highlight just a few on how we're protecting folks from mis and disinformation. So on Google Maps, we're detecting and removing fraudulent factual edits from Maps panels that you might see on Google search. We're also making sure that we're detecting editorial content related to the coronavirus. And we're also making sure that we have factual accuracy for critical locations. So emergency rooms, testing sites, things like that. When you're looking for these types of places, we know that you need them quickly and you need them to be accurate. So we're making sure that they're up to date from government sources, including business closures and hospital locations and the like. So really making sure that that content is factual and up to date. On Google Ads, we're making sure that we're blocking all ads that are capitalizing on the coronavirus. So we've actually implemented our sensitive events protocol that blocks ads and demonetizes queries that really capitalize on coronavirus keywords. And lastly, on Google Play, we are prohibiting developers from capitalizing on these sensitive events. And this has been our longstanding policy to strictly prohibit apps that feature medical or health-related content functionalities that are misleading or potentially harmful to the public. So now I'm going to hand it off to Erica to talk about our education, health, and research efforts around the globe. But before I do that, just make sure that you're putting in your questions down below. We want to get to those at the end. But with that, here's Erica.
Hello, we're just going to walk through what Google is doing to enable productivity for remote working and learning. So the first item here is we know that groups like yours are using products like Gmail, Calendar, Drive, Classroom, Hangouts Meet, and Hangouts Chat, as well as G Suite for Education to be productive while working and learning from home. So that's why we rolled out free access to our advanced Hangouts Meet video conferencing capabilities to all G Suite customers globally until July 1st, 2020. So if you're a G Suite customer, you will have access to all of our video conferencing capabilities through July 1st. We're also adding resources to be able to support higher demand for public live streaming on YouTube. This is because, as I'm sure you can guess, we've seen an increased interest as people look to connect virtually with their communities when they aren't able to be together in person. Google Cloud also supports disease monitoring and control apps. For example, we host the MTX app, which is super revolutionary. It provides state government agencies, health officials, and airports with real-time insights in predicting at-risk communities, disease growth rates, and monitoring the rapid spreading of diseases, most recently with this coronavirus outbreak. The app also provides immediate clinical attention to individuals most affected and prevents the spread to at-risk communities. So it's been super instrumental. And if you're interested in learning more about that app, please follow up with us after. Now I'm going to walk through what we're doing to support relief efforts in government organizations as part of our crisis response. So Google.org and Googlers have donated over $1 million to support relief efforts, and that'll go towards organizations working to purchase medical supplies, provide frontline workers with food and lodging, support the construction of temporary hospitals, and help with long-term recovery efforts. Additionally, Google Cloud continues to work with federal, state, and local governments to help them connect with citizens and returning travelers from impacted regions. Last, but certainly not least, we recently announced over an $800 million commitment to support small and medium-sized businesses, health organizations, and health workers. As part of that commitment, we're providing $250 million in donated ad credits to the World Health Organization and more than 100 government agencies globally. If anyone is interested in more information on that, we're happy to share. So please, again, don't hesitate to follow up with us afterwards. And now, last but not least, again, advancing what we're doing to advance health research and science. So answering the call to action from the White House, alphabet company Kaggle asked its community of more than 4 million data scientists to use AI to help find answers to a key set of questions about COVID-19. Kaggle is offering a prize of $1,000 for each task. So if you have the ability to complete one of those tasks, you are eligible to get $1,000, which we're super committed to. And then with the data set search, additionally, as researchers mobilize to develop vaccines and other remedies, we're highlighting data set search to make public data sets searchable and useful. As a large number of coronavirus data sets are new or being updated daily, we've created a fast path for adding new data sets and are committed to providing timely and high quality results. These are just a few of the ways Google is mobilizing to support crisis response efforts. Now I'm going to hand it off over to Javier, who is going to walk you through some of the most helpful productivity tools. Javier?
So again, thank you all for joining us. I'm going to walk through some of the things that you can be doing to be most productive while you are in this work from home environment, some of the tools that are going to really maximize the collaboration between you and your colleagues. Next slide, please. we go. Great. So just a brief agenda of what we're going to be covering for the rest of this presentation. I'm going to be walking through some ways and tools that you could be using to enable team productivity. Then we're also going to provide you with some information about the different tools that Google offers to keep up with what's happening in your community, whether that's monitoring the news that's coming out of the media or just figuring out what folks are searching and talking about online. Then after that, we're also going to be sharing some helpful best practices on how you can be creating really engaging content on YouTube to communicate and share information with your community. And yep, next slide, please. Great. So like you, our team is or like many of you, our team has actually moved to a work from home model. So we understand all the different complexities that come with that type of setup and how difficult it can be to collaborate closely and communicate effectively. Thankfully, Google has a suite of products that are really helpful to achieving those goals. So whether you're working right next to someone in an office, which hopefully you aren't, or trying to collaborate from your living rooms, many miles away from one another, you can still achieve all that with Google's suite of products. So next slide. Yeah, there we go. This is just a big picture of some of the products that Google offers that can be really helpful for you in these instances. These are Google Drive products that you should keep in mind. Many of you are probably familiar with them, and if not with these specific products, similar products that you've used off of Google. And then I'm gonna walk through some of these just so you know how you can best utilize them. Next slide. Great. So why so what some of you may be asking, why use Google Drive products? Some of you may be thinking, I'm already very accustomed to using other products. Maybe I have Microsoft Office. I'm familiar with that. So why should I? Well, those are, I'm going to provide you with a couple of good reasons. Well, the first is that Google Drive products are web-based, which means that multiple people can access them at any time. So you can access the same file from any different type of device seamlessly in order to maximize your collaboration. So no matter how many times you've made changes, those changes are going to be updated instantly so that your colleagues on the other end are able to see that as well. I know for me as a former comm staffer on the Hill, I can't recall how many times I had to send press releases with edits back and forth. So if you want to have one living source document that you can edit, add comments to, share suggestions, whether that's a doc, sheet, whatever it might be, that web-based service allows you to have that seamless collaboration. Sorry, there's some drilling going on in my building. And then you can also just work from anywhere. As I said, you can access these different products from many different types of devices, whether you're accessing it from your desktop at your workstation in your home, or from your laptop, or if you're accessing it from a tablet at a park under a tree or something like that. You're able to do all of that as long as you are working off of any of our Google Drive based products. And then lastly, managing access. We really believe that you shouldn't have to compromise on security in order to achieve great collaboration. That's why all of our products allow you to really control who has access to those, so you can control who can see, edit, share, copy, or print any of these files, so that only people that need to have access and permission to see them do. And next slide, great. And then as I mentioned, some of you may already be using other Microsoft Office in order to achieve your objectives. Some of you may be thinking, we have already historically just used these programs. All my files are saved in this format. I don't want to transition over to Google Drive. Well, the great thing about it is that you can actually convert any Microsoft Office or Adobe PDF file into our Drive format, as long as you upload it and do the conversion. So it makes it really seamless to be able to continue working on projects that you might have previously started, or to upload your previous projects and make sure that they're living in one web-based destination where anyone can access it. Great. And then on access, just want to walk you through some of the things that you're able to do when you're trying to control access on any of these particular files. What you'll see at the very top when you go to edit the access of any file, you'll be able to control who can access it. So here you can add the emails of anyone who you'd like to grant that permission to. You can choose to invite people within that file, or you can send them a link so that anyone who has that link can reach that file as well. There you can edit the rights of those individuals as well. So here you can choose how much permission you would like to grant them, whether you choose to allow them to just view the file only, to make suggestions through comments, or to directly edit those files. And then you can also control who can copy or print those files. So if it's something that you are concerned might get leaked or shared with someone who shouldn't have access to, or printed and distributed, anything like that, you can also control who can copy it over to their drive or just print it, control the printing settings. So that way you can really ensure that this document or file is being protected. And then lastly, by utilizing Google's family of products, you can just easily manage your documents, spreadsheets, presentations, and more. You can generate, the ability to generate links also makes it really easy to share these assets with external partners. I know that when I was doing press, I would oftentimes upload things to Google Drive, whether that be a B-roll that I would take in from a press event, or photos that I was trying to distribute to local media, and upload them to Google Drive and actually just share the links with our local media, our local TV affiliates, even if they couldn't send out a camera, so that they can have footage that they can run at the top of their news hour. So you have a lot of flexibility into how you can use this space on Google Drive, and the seamless integration and collaboration between you, your colleagues, or even external partners to make sure that you're getting the most out of it. And then, yeah, going over to Google Docs. Many of you are probably very familiar with Google Docs. If not, you're familiar with the type of program that it is. Google Docs is a traditional word processing service that allows you to just create, edit, share, print text or image-based documents. Using this tool, you can draft memos, reports, talking points, press releases, any of the things that you might consider useful in this program. So why would you use Google Docs? Again, just to reiterate some of the things I mentioned before, it's a in this collaborative environment, you're really able to just minimize the amount of back and forth that you're going to be going through if you are editing documents and then attaching them to an email and sending them back and forth. By using our cloud-based service, you're actually able to just leave comments in that document. You're able to make edits and track them. You're able to access that document remotely from anywhere, so that no matter where you are, you can make those changes in real time, even if it's from your phone, and someone else on the other end will see those changes and be able to move forward with their project, particularly in those situations where it's very time sensitive. Another great thing is that you also have templates that you can access. I know oftentimes when I had to draft a report on, let's say, a recent ad campaign or something like that, sometimes you're struggling to find the proper format. You want it to look presentable and nice, so when you're handing it off to your boss or your direct manager, well, thankfully Google offers a whole host of different templates that you can access online. If you just Google some templates for Google Docs, you can actually find pre-formatted templates that you can use to just input your data, input your information, and then it simplifies that whole process so you can get through that project quicker. And then, as I mentioned before, also you can just convert documents, whether they be in Microsoft Word or in Adobe Reader, Adobe PDF, so that you can convert it over to a Word document and continue a Google Docs document and continue working on them. And now moving on to Sheets. Again, this is probably a format or a type of program that you all are pretty familiar with. Sheets is a traditional spreadsheet service. So this is going to be where you're able to create lists, analyze data, create charts, filters, create reports, track numbers, information, all that. And then there's a lot of really useful things that you can do with Sheets. One of the things that I think are going to be most useful for your purposes, because all of this is web-based, again, you're able to connect Sheets to other web-based services as well. So that means that you can easily sync the data that's in other data sources. So whether that's Twitter, Facebook, or any other web-based app as well, you can actually sync it with your Sheets so that it's automated and your data is being transferred over automatically. So you can do that thanks to connectivity services like Zapier and others. So instead of downloading data from those services and formatting them manually in your Sheets over and over again, you can use these type of automated services to expedite that process or to automate that process. Similarly, you can also integrate Google Sheets with some CRM services, which means that it can also be really easy for you to take information from spreadsheets that you already have and integrate them with your existing CRM softwares. And then moving on to Slides. So Slides, again, likely very familiar with it. Slides is your traditional presentation program. So if you are making a budget request that's going to go up to your chief or direct manager, if you are presenting some analytics on a recent ad campaign, if you simply just want to present some plans or ideas in a really visual, cohesive way, then you should really consider Google Slides. There are a lot of different things that you can do. You can just bring ideas to life in a really polished way. I know that one of the best things or the things that we have found most useful through Slides is, particularly if you are working on presentations with colleagues or even external or partner groups, you're going to be making changes often. Sometimes you're going to be making changes at the very last minute before a presentation goes live. Oftentimes, you want to make sure that whatever presentation is being shown to your audience is the most up-to-date one and the one that includes all of your relevant changes. Sometimes I know it's been the case in the past where you make a change last minute, you send someone the slides, and then when it's loaded up and presented, you realize they didn't get your email in time or they just pulled up the wrong presentation. So making sure that you're working off of these web-based presenting program will ensure that you are not missing out on those edits and presenting something before it's actually ready or without those last minute changes. And then going on to Google Calendar, this is probably the one you all are most familiar with. If you haven't used it in your professional capacity, you've almost certainly used it in your personal capacity. So Google Calendar just allows you to track your your schedule, agenda, to-dos, stuff like that on your set reminders on your calendar that you can access from a mobile device or a laptop or desktop computer. Some of the really useful things about Google Calendar and our web-based services is that you can actually control who has access to your calendar or gain access to others' calendars if it's useful to you. So you can share your calendar with family, friends, or coworkers so that they know what your availability is at any given time. You can share your main calendar with anyone or access others. You can create a calendar that has multiple people on it can edit or write on. So if it's an office calendar that you want to make sure that everyone knows what is happening in any particular week, you can create a calendar where everyone can access. You can also add someone as an administrative assistant or delegate control of your calendar to someone else. This is really useful, and I know many of your schedulers are probably familiar with this, where you can actually go in and grant someone control of your calendar so that they can add, remove, make changes if you want someone to have that level of control. But I think one of the most useful things that you can get out of Google Calendar is just the ability to actually know what someone else's availability looks like. I know that oftentimes when I was trying, or even today, when I try to schedule meetings with colleagues, sometimes it's very difficult to know, what their availabilities are like. Everyone has a really busy schedule. So it's hard to figure out when you can pinpoint that time to talk. Well, if you grant access to others and so that they can see at least when you're available on your calendar, that actually removes a lot of resistance to being able to schedule those meetings seamlessly and without having to go back and forth constantly. And then one thing that's also really useful that you all should know about Google Calendar is that you can send yourself daily agendas. So if you want an email that comes in every morning that tells you exactly what you have planned for the day so that you can get yourself in the right mindset, gather all the appropriate resources and be prepared for all those meetings, that's another really useful thing that you can do. Or even if you want, if you are, let's say, you want your scheduler to get that email every morning and then forward it to the rest of the staff so that they know what your principal's schedule looks like for the rest of the day. That's also a really helpful thing that you can do. And to get those daily reminders, all you need to do is just open up Google Calendars and then click the settings menu, which is the gear, and then you're going to click on your calendar under settings for my calendar. So that specific calendar that you're looking to get that reminder for. And then you're going to hit general notifications, and under daily agenda, you're going to choose email as a type of notification that you want to receive. And you'll get that every morning at a time that you've specified. And then now with that, I'm just going to hand it off to my colleague, Andrea, who's going to go into Google Hangouts Meet.
Great. Thanks, Javi. Before I get started, just want to remind everyone to make sure that you're submitting any questions you have below, and we will address them when we get to the Q&A section at the end. But I'm going to talk about 2 more tools to enable productivity among your teams, and then I'm going to talk about a few tools that can help you better connect with your audience. And then I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, John, who will talk about some YouTube best practices. But first, starting with Hangouts Meet, this is Google's video conferencing platform that allows you to collaborate with your staff from wherever they are. All you have to do is just set up a meeting and share a link. You don't have to worry about whether or not teammates, your clients, customers have the right accounts or plugins or anything like that. From there, once you're in the meeting, you can actually share your screen to more easily collaborate and present whether it's documents or slides that you might be working on, any sort of project that you want to collaborate on. Want to make sure to remind you to turn on your video during these conference calls. The video feature makes a huge difference in this time where everyone is working from home. It's just a little bit more interactive and sort of able to give you a semblance of normalcy when everyone's sort of working from home. Great. Because so many of us are working from home right now, we've put together some helpful tips and tricks to make sure that you're putting on really good and successful video calls no matter where you are. So the first one is make sure that you choose the right environment. When you're on a call, you want to give some thought to what's around you, such as the backdrop. Choose a plain wall and make sure that you avoid windows that will provide too much backlight. And if you're using a laptop, you want to make sure that you put it somewhere steady. Second tip is to make sure that you only share what you mean to share. When you're sharing your screen, you want to make sure you're only sharing what you need to. To make sure you only share what you need to, just present one window as opposed to your entire screen. So for example, notifications to your personal email or something like that pops up if you don't want it to. The third tip is invite anyone, anytime, anywhere. Video conferencing doesn't always have to be scheduled. If you're in the middle of a too long email conversation, you can actually just instantly set up a meeting and invite people within or outside of your organization to make sure that they can join. Hangouts Meet actually automatically creates international dial-in codes so people can call on the phone, they can call via a calendar event, by email or by phone, anywhere they are. The next tip is make sure that you change the screen layout to cater to whoever your meeting is going. One of my favorite features in Meet is the ability, if someone's showing slides, but there might be a lively discussion happening between colleagues, you can actually switch the layout to focus on the people that are chatting rather than the presentation itself. The fifth tip is to make sure that you can turn on captions. So if you're in a loud place or you don't have good headphones, you can use Meet's live caption feature to display captions in real time. It works just like closed captions would on TV. And then the last, and I would argue most helpful tip on video calls is to make sure you're authentic. People have a life outside of work, and it can be good to show a little bit of the real life around you. Showing a little bit of the real life can foster deeper connections with coworkers in a time when we're really all in a lot of self-isolation. Next tool and final productivity tool I want to talk about is Google Chat. So Hangouts Chat makes it really easy for teams to be able to get their work done in one place, whether it's from direct messages to group conversations. Chat's a really great way to make sure teams can collaborate more easily and efficiently. There's dedicated virtual rooms that can house projects over time, as well as threaded conversations. So it makes it really easy to track progress and follow up on tasks that you might have. It currently supports 20 languages, and each room can support up to 8,000 members. Great. So two more tools that I want to talk about today. Both of these tools are going to help groups keep up with what's happening. The first is Google News Alerts. So Google News Alerts is a tool that allows you to receive alerts to monitor content that's important to you and your organization. So you can set up alerts for your boss's name, search terms that are relevant to your organization, or any other topic that you might want to keep track of on a consistent basis on Google search. Or beyond Google search on the internet. So you can get alerts as often as once a day or as little as once a week. And it's automatic. So once you set it up, it scans the web for you, whether it's news articles, blog posts, or web content. Great. And then the last tool I want to talk about is Google Trends. So Google Trends is a really powerful search tool that shows you what people are searching for at any given time. We often say that search demonstrates intent. So if people are searching for specific terms, it means that they're really interested in it. They're really curious about it. They want to learn more. So it's a really great tool to make sure that you're able to get a finger on the pulse of your audience at any given time over periods of time. So you can enter a keyword or a topic into the Explore bar. You can see what's trending across search, news, and YouTube in real time. And it has these really great visualizations that make understanding the trend data pretty easy and digestible. You can identify related search topics and news to what you're searching on, and then you can actually use trends data to determine what information your audience may need most at a given time. Another great tool is that you can actually compare different search terms or topics over time to better understand how people's interests are changing in certain areas. And that's it for our productivity tools and audience engagement tools. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, John, but just want to give one final reminder to make sure that you submit any questions that you have below for our Q&A section at the end. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Andrea. John from the YouTube DC team here. I'm going to start by talking about how groups can connect with their audiences on YouTube through YouTube Live. So YouTube Live is definitely one of our most interesting features that folks are interested in onboarding with at the moment in the civic space. YouTube Live is a really versatile live broadcasting platform that's free to use that allows you to essentially live broadcast a video to an unlimited number of YouTube users, whether or not they're signed in. For folks in this space, it's a really great system and tool to use to live stream, major live events, providing users and viewers with immediate real-time information in a visual format through video. It's also a really great tool to leverage for expert interviews. So if you want to bring on a subject matter expert to talk about COVID in your local community, YouTube Live is a great way to have an expert interview that you live stream to the platform that anyone can watch. And in addition to that, town hall Q&As is a really great format for YouTube Live in a video format. So you could set up a stream with your principal, and have them go into a back and forth conversation with your audience, with your membership groups, etc., via live chat, so that you can have, again, a two-way conversation between your organization and your audience. In addition, there are a lot of great third-party integrations that allow you to host a YouTube live stream with multiple video sources, so you can have multiple people engaging in a town hall from their respective homes and their respective video setups. So you can have something that's also interactive via video and not just through chat. To enable live, it's really easy to get started with YouTube Live. All you have to do is log into your YouTube channel with your Google account at youtube.com, go to youtube.com/features, and then you'll see a button to enable live streaming. It requires just a really short two-factor authentication, and then live will be enabled on your channel within 24 hours of that verification process. So it's really easy to get started with live. And then the next slide goes over kind of the basics of YouTube Live here. So again, with YouTube Live, you can stream to an unlimited number of users through a single video source or multiple video sources if you're using a more robust system. What's great about YouTube Live in particular is YouTube videos are really discoverable both on search and on YouTube in the search bar when live streamed. And in addition, you don't need to be logged into a Google account to view a YouTube live stream. So it's very much a public source of video. And again, it's free to use. You have a couple different options for setting up a live stream with your respective equipment types. So you could definitely live stream from an encoder with a very professional AV setup. You can simply use a webcam from your laptop like we are doing here for this webinar. And then we have a mobile live streaming solution, which is demoed here on the left of the presentation slide, that allows folks to mobile live stream from eligible channels. What's great as well about YouTube Live is you can set up a couple different privacy settings for your live stream. So most notably, or most typically, folks public live stream. So they'll live stream from their channel via an encoder, webcam, or mobile app that will be streamed directly to their channel. The stream will be visible in search results, and to folks who might also be interested in your live stream, versus an unlisted stream is one that is simply hosted on a unique URL. So it's not promoted broadly, but is accessible just simply from that single URL. So you could send that URL to maybe an email list, for example, so that you have a targeted set of folks that are able to view the live stream via that public URL. Next slide. So great. Yeah, we put together a great checklist for what to think about before you live stream, during your live stream, and after you live stream. I think what's important before you live stream is to definitely test your full setup. If you have a new setup that you're trying out, definitely test it through either a private stream or an unlisted stream to make sure that you have a really seamless experience. It's really helpful to schedule that live stream and promote the link to that scheduled live stream to your audience. We'll do that to your channel subscribers, but certainly you can also promote it broadly on your other social channels. You can create a live channel page shelf, which will dynamically showcase your upcoming live streams, your current live streams, and your past live streams on your channel, so that folks can easily access those live streams when they land on your channel. Definitely gather questions beforehand if you want to make it an interactive experience when you actually go live via your different social channels, maybe your email list, etc. During the live stream, it's important to have some structure. So deliver opening and closing remarks. Keep them concise if you can. Stick to a structure that people can digest and keeps you on track. And then by making it engaging through a Q&A portion, that's a great way to get your audience involved and have a two-way conversation. In addition, we have this really great feature called highlight clipping. So when you're live streaming, you can actually, while live streaming, clip out highlights that you can share afterwards across all your social channels if you want to have a more bite-sized version of your live stream that you then later promote, should folks want to tune in afterwards. After live streaming, by default, most folks will have the live stream populate on their channel for folks to tune in afterwards if they didn't join during the live event itself. So it's easy to discover that live stream afterwards on your channel and in search. So again, a lot of viewership of live videos happens after the stream is over, as folks want to tune in when they have time. Definitely create a live archive playlist of all your live streams. That allows us to better promote future episodes of a live to different user bases. If they've maybe tuned into one and you have a new live in that same playlist, we're more likely to promote that next episode of a live series to a user who has maybe seen an initial video, and you now have a new video in that same playlist. And then again, it's really easy to direct folks to an archive live stream through its unique URL, not just on an email list, but also on other social posts as well. So you could post maybe on your Facebook page a highlight clip that you've clipped from the live stream, and then a direct link for folks to view the full video on YouTube. Awesome. So we have a full two-sheeter on YouTube Live strategy and operations here that is available for folks who are interested in getting started. So that's YouTube live streaming. I also want to talk about how you can really help really get your message out to your audience through up-to-date information, namely explainer videos. So a lot of different organizations during this environment in which we're in are using this opportunity to really explain how COVID-19 is impacting their local audience, their local community. So we have a plethora of organizations, including the CDC and other civic space groups, creating really short form explainer videos about the disease and how it's impacting your work or your audience. And so generally speaking, a really great way to think about creating an explainer video is answering some of the top search for questions related to COVID in your local community. And you can use Google Trends to do that, as Andrea documented, and then put together, a bite-sized couple minute long video to really explain how this major news story or other news stories impact you and your community. So that's a really great way to leverage YouTube and the explainer format that is very, very popular on the platform to get your message out to your audience. And what's most important there when you're thinking about building the video beyond obviously the content itself is making sure that you have a really robust, specific title that really showcases, what you're talking about and how it's important for your local community. As an example, say you're a member of Congress in Kansas, you can say, Congressman or woman X speaks to COVID-19's impact on X part of Kansas. That would be a really great title to really, again, ground your localized content on the platform in a way that's digestible and accessible to particularly those folks who are looking for more local content around the disease beyond obviously the national and state level broadcasts. Awesome. So beyond YouTube Live and explainer videos as really great formats to engage with the audience on YouTube, we have some other awesome external resources as well. The YouTube Creator Academy is essentially our training site for YouTube. So it has guided tutorials for digital teams on how to get started with YouTube and different features. We also have, dedicated sections around how to produce really good social impact content. We also have the YouTube Creators channel on YouTube, which has video tutorials for all our different features. We have some other useful video updates on the Creator Insider channel, which is that third link within the Creator Academy section here. And then we have a full help center on YouTube that answers every and all questions pertaining to how to leverage YouTube. And in particular, our page within the help center on YouTube Live is really, really robust. So it answers the most basic questions from how to enable live streaming to the most sophisticated setups for an encoder. And then we have a link to our policy, safety, and copyright pages for those who are interested as well. With that, I will turn it over to Maria to lead Q&A. Thanks, Maria.
I figured out I was muted. Sorry, guys. Thanks, John. We want to make sure that we get to all of your questions. So make sure that if you have any questions, make sure to submit them right below here, and we're happy to answer them in the few minutes that we have left. So the first question that we have is from Mar. Mar, I think you were on our last live stream, so welcome back. So his question is, how many people can participate in Hangout Meets? And is there a limit to the number of participants when we're video conferencing? So I'm going to kick it to Andrea for answer to that question.
Yeah, thanks so much for the question. So we actually just rolled out free access to Hangouts Meet video conferencing for G Suite and G Suite for Education users globally, which includes larger meetings for up to 250 participants per call and live streaming for up to 100,000 viewers within a domain. As far as outside of, if you are not a G Suite user, it is at 25 participants. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much for kind of cluing us in on that. And of course, if you have any more questions on G Suite or Hangouts or anything like that, or just questions in general, make sure to reach out to us at civics-outreach@google.com. That'll get you right to the team right here, and we're happy to help you with any of the questions you may have had about our presentation today, or just questions in general. So I'm looking here at the platform. I don't see any more questions from you all, but I just want to make sure that everybody has a chance to ask a question if they need to. So feel free to shoot those to civics-outreach@google.com. And of course, tune in again on Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. We're going to do our next session on safety and security tools that can help you while you're pivoting your work to virtual. Just because we're online here at home doesn't mean it's not important to make sure that we're practicing our safety and security tips here when we're working remotely. So make sure to tune in 10 a.m. Eastern time. Right here, we'll get you right to the session. So make sure to tune in. Thanks for joining today. Thanks to all of the speakers for really indulging us in some great content today. But make sure to tune in on Wednesday at 10 a.m. and we'll see you there. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks.
See y'all.